When you are gone, what's left behind is your legacy.
What you said, what you did, how you made people feel, all important, but there's your financial legacy to consider as well.
Today we'll talk about 2 ways to pass along your hard-earned wealth, IRAs, life insurance, and we'll give you some ideas of how to make the most of your legacy. Join us for Retiring Today.
Welcome to Retiring Today. The focus of our show today is what happens to your hard-earned wealth after you're gone. I'm here with Loren Merkle and Sean Honkamp. They are both certified financial fiduciaries. They're both retirement income certified professionals, and they're both certified financial planners. And Loren, part of what you do is you sit down with families and you talk about a lot of stuff. But today we're going to focus on the legacy planning piece. First, just set us up on what a legacy plan is, what kind of things you're talking about, and where we're going to go today.
The legacy plan is really whatever you want to accomplish after you're gone. And there's a lot of different ways that we can tackle that. Just think about you yourself. When you're gone, what impact do you want to leave? What impact do you want to leave to your loved ones? What impact do you want to leave to charities? And then the legacy plan is all about accomplishing whatever those legacy goals of yours are. And there's a lot of different techniques, there's a lot of different strategies you can use and incorporate within your plan to accomplish your objectives. But where we start is from a broad base. What do you actually want to accomplish? Do you want to leave this amount to your grandkids to help with school? Do you want to leave this amount to your kids for whatever reason? Do you want to leave this amount to your favorite charity? And then the techniques, the strategies will be coordinated to accomplish that plan.
And Sean, I have to think that this is one of the advantages of applying the Merkle retirement method, which are the 5 guiding principles that we've kind of come up with because you and Lauren and the team have helped hundreds of people retire, because maybe, just maybe, when they come and sit down with you, they haven't thought about some of this.
Yeah, the fact of creating that retirement plan and going through that retirement method, that retirement process, it does help our families. It really forces our families to have those conversations. When we're first meeting with families and they're thinking about retirement planning, you're thinking about retirement planning for the first time. Not all these items are at the top of your list. Not all of these items are top concerns for you, and oftentimes you have not yet thought about what legacy plan means to you. That's a big valuable add. It's a valuable part of the planning that we do. One of the most fun things that we get to do with our families is having these conversations, talking through what your goals are as we work with you to develop that comprehensive retirement plan.
Yeah, and the goals are the fun part, talking about what does retirement look like? Do you want to travel? Do you want to spend more time with grandkids? Getting to the legacy piece, Lauren, maybe not as fun, but definitely necessary. And what can be eye-opening is when you can say, here's a strategy that protects your wealth.
Yeah, here's a strategy that not only protects your wealth, but in many cases can actually enhance your wealth and enhance the overall impact that you're trying to provide once you are gone. You know, one of the things that Sean, you were talking about is sometimes you are not thinking about all of the different things that go into retirement planning, because when people are thinking about retirement planning, most of the time they're thinking about their investments. They're thinking about their investments. You're thinking about when you no longer have your W-2 wages, where are you going to get your income from? But it's our job then as retirement planners to start focusing on some of these things that you maybe not have focused on before because you've never done this before. You only want to retire once most of the time. And so these are some of the decisions that you will encounter whether you plan for it or not. You're going to encounter these decisions. You have to make these decisions. And the planning is what allows you to make these decisions the best way possible with the highest amount of confidence possible.
So what we want to do today is go through 2 legacy strategies and talk to you about comparing and contrasting, looking at taxes, looking at how you pass them on, looking at the advantages and the disadvantages. And then in the next segment, Lauren and Sean are going to go to the board and show you what this looks like in real numbers with a real couple and how they can pass their legacy on. So the 2 things we want to talk about are IRAs and life insurance. And we want to look at, again, all these different aspects and how they're affected, which legacy plan you choose. So Lauren, let's talk first about IRA. An IRA is a legacy plan. And taxes, what's important to know?
Yeah, the IRA is so much more than just fuel for your income and fuel for the activities, your retirement lifestyle. It can be a big part of your overall legacy. The vast majority of most people's retirement wealth, in fact, lies in their IRA. But one of the things that we need to keep in mind is with this IRA, you have not paid taxes on this money before. And what that means is you are going to pay taxes on this money at some point, whether you take it out for income in your retirement or whatever's left in that IRA and you pass on to your kids, your grandkids, they will pay taxes on that money. Somebody is going to pay taxes on that money. So now in a record low tax rate environment, how do we pay taxes on this money systematically at the lowest rate possible, so not only you can enjoy more of this IRA over the course of your retirement, impacting your retirement lifestyle, but when you pass it on to the kids and the grandkids, how can they pay the least amount of tax possible as well? That's one of the big differences between the IRA and the life insurance that we're going to talk about, is the IRA is taxable. You, your grandkids, somebody's going to pay taxes on that money. It's just a matter of how much and when.
And before we go into the tax implications of life insurance as a legacy plan, in case this is a new concept, Sean, for people, can you kind of explain how you would why you might use life insurance as a legacy plan, or what it looks like?
Life insurance is evolving a lot, where most people are familiar with the traditional life insurance. When you're young in that accumulation stage of life, we utilize term life insurance to really protect yourself in the event of a premature death, replacing your income, maybe ensuring to cover the debt that you had so that your family can continue to live their lifestyle and not be burdened by an unplanned event. Life insurance has evolved. We talk all the time, think about the very first cell phone you had. It was probably very simple versus the cell phone that you have today. It does just about everything for you. That is some of the transition and growth that we've seen with life insurance. It's really multifunctional. There are various purposes. So life insurance is becoming a bigger component, a bigger aspect of the legacy plan than what we've seen in prior generations. There are ways to use that life insurance to help achieve your legacy goals, whether it's setting that up so that we have the death benefit in place, setting that up to maybe help as advance if you have long-term care, maybe prior to the legacy. Just a lot of different uses. So it's important to understand and be familiar with that. These conversations with our families, a lot of times this is brand new information to them. You've never thought about utilizing life insurance in the ways that they can now be utilized. So that's a big component of what we do. We talk all the time. One of our primary roles is simply to provide all the information that our families need so that you can make the decisions that is a best fit for your plan.
And one of the biggest questions we get from our pre-retirees that come to us is they have this life insurance already in place. Do we still need this life insurance? We don't have any debt or very little debt left on the house. There's very little debt anywhere else within the overall financial picture. So you have $300,000 of this term or maybe even permanent life insurance. Do you still need that life insurance? Well, the question is, maybe you don't need the life insurance, but do you want the life insurance? And there's a lot of different ways you can use life insurance now that you're transitioning from the working years to the retirement years that maybe you've never thought of before. And so you don't need it necessarily, but we need to answer the question, do you want it, and use it in some of these other strategies? And that's part of what we're going to go through in segment 2. So hang on. Pay attention to segment 2. We're going to give you some very specific strategies of how you might use life insurance to help decrease your tax bill and then magnify your legacy plan as well.
And Loren, it's interesting too. A lot of our families bring their information to us. We help you develop that plan. They have balance sheets. They have all their assets listed. Very often they are not including their life insurance on there as an asset. And we know that is something you own. You're allocating some of your funds and premiums towards that asset. How can you utilize it? How can you be efficient with that asset as well?
And I think you said it, but just to make it clear, we're comparing and contrasting IRAs and life insurance. So IRA, taxes have never been paid. Someone's going to pay taxes on that IRA. Life insurance has a different tax implication.
Life insurance, if you use it the right way, when you pass away, it is going to be a tax-free death benefit. Also, there's various versions of life insurance where you can take income from life insurance tax-free as well. So it's kind of this universal superpower if it's structured the right way, where you can use it throughout the course of your retirement to provide your lifestyle on a tax-free basis, but then the death benefit can go tax-free to your loved ones and anybody that you want to really impact from a financial situation once you're gone.
So we've only been chatting for about 9 minutes, and we've already gotten deep into taxes and IRAs and life insurance. Just think if you had 15 minutes to talk directly with a retirement planner about your situation. They could help walk you through whether an IRA or life insurance is right for you. Well, here's a great opportunity. It's a complimentary 15-minute retirement checkup call. Go to merkleretire.com right now and you can schedule your checkup call today. Coming up after this short break, Sean and Loren are at the board. They're going to talk about this in numbers and show you the power of this type of legacy planning.
When planning a big trip, do you like to look up points of interest, read restaurant reviews, or map out how to take the scenic route? You may spend days or even weeks getting ready for a week-long vacation. Well, what about the 20 or 30-year journey that is retirement? Join us for an online complimentary workshop, Journey to Retirement, June 29th and 30th at 6 p.m. What you can learn in this 2-part online workshop from the comfort of your own home will help you plan for the most exciting journey of your life. Register today at merkleplan.com.
I feel like a ton of bricks has been taken off my shoulders. They know so much about everything. I'm getting information about Medicare and Social Security. The Merkle retirement team really knows what it is doing. They knock it out of the park with timely responses and empathetic handling of sensitive issues. Thanks for everything you do, Merkle Retirement Planning.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. Loren Merkle and Sean Honkamp are at the board to show you a great example of how you can use an IRA and life insurance to maximize your legacy.
John and Sue came to us when they were looking to build their retirement plan, and they had some really specific objectives. 2 of the objectives that they had is they wanted to decrease how much they were going to pay taxes, on the majority of their retirement savings, which, Sean, with most retirees, pre-retirees, the vast majority of their savings is in their pre-tax IRA. So John and Sue were no different. They want to decrease how much money they pay in taxes when they take money out of their IRA, and they have a really specific legacy ambition. They want to make sure they can leave as much as they can for the least amount of cost to their children from a legacy standpoint. So as we're going through John and Sue's plan and we're building out their plan, we kept those specific objectives in mind. John and Sue feel like we're in a low tax rate environment, like most people, and like most people, they feel like tax rates are going to increase. So with their strategy in their plan, we identified there's $350,000 of their retirement savings they don't need for themselves. For their retirement vision, for their retirement lifestyle, there's $350,000 that they don't need to live on over the course of their retirement. So what we did with this strategy is we took $350,000 and we converted it into a lifetime monthly income of about $1,470 a month. So they're receiving that $1,470 a month every single month for as long as one of them is alive. Now, it's important to note when they take the $1,470 a month, that is taxable because it's coming from their IRA they've never paid taxes on before. They will pay taxes on that money. But you'll notice because they're taking that money out every single month, it turns into about $16,000, $17,000 a year that is taxable in that year, as opposed to taking the full $350,000 out in 1 year where it shoots their tax rate way up. They're spreading their tax liability up to keep their tax rates at a reasonable level. So they're receiving the income of the $1,470 a month, and now it's a matter of how do they take that $1,470 a month and magnify what they're trying to do from a legacy standpoint.
And as we focus on that tax minimization within the plan, we have yet to meet a family that doesn't want to achieve that tax minimization. All of our families, they're all fine. You all agree that you want to pay your fair share, but when you look comprehensively at the entire plan, we all often stress it's not about what you have saved in total, it's about what you get to keep and what you get to spend. And when you achieve that tax minimization, that puts you in a position where you do get to keep more of it and send less of it to the IRS. So for John and Sue, they are able to take that $1,470 per month. They go obtain a second to die universal life insurance policy. Now, something to emphasize here. The reason we look at the second to die life insurance policy, when you insure 2 lives, that lowers your cost of insurance. So what that does for John and Sue is allows them to get the maximum life insurance death benefit with the $1,470 per month that they're allocating to this strategy. With that second to die life insurance policy, they are able to obtain a life insurance death benefit of $1.5 million. As part of the overall comprehensive planning that we've done, they've identified that that goal is to maximize, as you talked about, maximize that legacy and what they're able to leave behind for their beneficiaries and charities. In the overall context of this strategy, what John and Sue were able to do is take that $350,000 of pre-tax retirement savings and turn it into a $1.5 million tax-free death benefit.
Yeah, so what John and Sue did here is they identified $350,000 that they didn't need to support their lifestyle. They minimize the amount of tax that they pay on that $350,000, and they magnify the amount of money that they can leave on a tax-free basis to their kids. So they turn $350,000, minimize taxes, turn it to $1.5 million tax-free legacy. What this strategy is called is the IRA relocation strategy. Now, John and Sue, the names are hypothetical, the numbers are hypothetical, but since January 1st of 2020, Sean, we've implemented this strategy many times with our families. What happened January 1st of 2020 was the Secure Act, and the Secure Act completely changed many people's legacy strategies, so we had to get creative. And this is one of the creative strategies that we developed in light of that Secure Act. Prior to the Secure Act, John and Sue could have passed on their IRA, and then their kids could have taken distributions out over the course of their lifetime to spread out that tax liability. Post the Secure Act, now their kids, any money they receive from the IRA, they have to have liquidated within a 10-year period of time, bunching up their distributions and increasing most likely the tax bill that they have on those distributions.
And we talk so often about having that comprehensive retirement plan and how it's never finished. It continues, we continue to manage it. It grows with you throughout your retirement journey. It's interesting how the Secure Act seemed like it was really hot. It was top of the news for maybe only a few months. Well, what happened? We had the COVID pandemic, and the Secure Act simply seemed, from our standpoint, to maybe go away and fall down that list of concerns. We know there's legislative changes all the time. We have to be aware of that as we work with our families to manage that plan. So yes, the Secure Act has had impacts on that legacy planning. It's requiring families to obtain that information, maybe become aware of these new strategies. What can you do with your assets? How can you be as efficient as possible to achieve these different strategies and accomplish the goals that you have set out for your comprehensive retirement plan?
And through the implementation of this strategy, John and Sue have realized how all of these different guiding principles, the 5 guiding principles, are correlated together. Because within just this one IRA relocation strategy, first we had to identify here's how much they need from an income standpoint, not only a point of retirement, but also 10, 15, 20 years down the road to be able to determine this is $350,000. This is a piece of their portfolio they don't need to support their lifestyle. So that's the income piece of it. The tax planning piece is how we mitigate the impact of taxation on the $350,000 that they don't need. And then the legacy planning piece of it is how we impact in a meaningful way how they can balloon, how they can really enhance the amount that they send to their kids. So all of these principles are very interrelated as we build out the plan.
Yeah, we talk to our families often about how creating that retirement plan is very much a process. Something like this can feel very transactional, but without having that comprehensive plan, without knowing about all the 5 principles, what your goals are, maybe how you're feeling or how you're situated within those goals, it would be very challenging to execute a strategy like that without knowing that John and Sue felt very comfortable about being able to allocate that $350,000 to their tax planning strategy and to their legacy planning principle.
That's right. In order for John and Sue to say, here's $350,000 we don't need to live on, and we're sure that we're not going to need to live on, that's where the planning comes into play, where they can see, they have the confidence that they can take this $350,000 to minimize the tax bill and increase what they're trying to do from a legacy planning standpoint. This strategy, like all strategies, are not right for everybody. So as great as this strategy sounds, don't just go out and implement this right away. Make sure you build out your customized retirement plan first, because you have to make sure this strategy or any other strategies work right for you. This strategy, part of this strategy is a permanent decision, meaning that once you implement this lifetime income, you can't change that. We could change the life insurance part of the strategy, meaning if 10 years into this strategy, John and Sue change their legacy ambition and say, hey, we don't want the life insurance, they can let that lapse. Then they're going to have the $14.70 a month coming in, and they can use that for whatever they want to. So there's parts of this they can change, but there's parts of this that they cannot. So before implementing any type of specific tactic or strategy within the overall plan, we need to make sure the plan is complete and these strategies make the most sense for them.
And that's a great point to make. We talk often about making sure the decisions we're utilizing, you still have control and you still have options. So it's a great example of some of this we still have control. Some of it, though, is a permanent decision, like some of the other decisions that we make. And another fun part of this is we talk to our families often about having fun. Doing some of these things, Loren, is some of the fun we get to have. I know when we first meet our families, we talk about a lot, and that can feel overwhelming. And we often stress about trying to simplify the complex. Getting to this point where we're implementing some of these strategies and making decisions, that is the fun that we get to have with our families.
It's a lot of fun on our point, but it's a lot of fun for people like John and Sue and you, where you can take these strategies and really realize your objectives, your goals, and have the best retirement vision that you can have.
And that example is just part of John and Sue's journey to retirement. Coming up, we'll tell you about a great opportunity to learn more about how John and Sue really put together a comprehensive retirement vision. Right now, it's time for our Ask the Advisor segment. If you have a question you'd like us to answer here on the show, you can submit it to the number on your screen. Here's the question we have. Can I use my existing life insurance policy as part of my legacy plan? We'll answer that and more when Retiring Today continues.
When planning a big trip, do you like to look up points of interest, read restaurant reviews, or map out how to take the scenic route? You may spend days or even weeks getting ready for a week-long vacation. Well, what about the 20 or 30-year journey that is retirement? Join us for an online complimentary workshop, Journey to Retirement, June 29th and 30th at 6 p.m. What you can learn in this two-part online workshop from the comfort of your own home will help you plan for the most exciting journey of your life. Register today at merkleplan.com.
I feel like a ton of bricks has been taken off my shoulders. They know so much about everything. I'm getting information about Medicare and Social Security. The Merkle retirement team really knows what it is doing. They knock it out of the park with timely responses and empathetic handling of sensitive issues. Thanks for everything you do, Merkle Retirement Planning.
Welcome back. Here's another look at our Ask the Advisor question. The question is, can I use my existing life insurance policy as part of my legacy plan? I'm here with Loren Merkle and Sean Honkamp. Sean, what would you say to the person who asked this question?
It's a great question. It's a question we get frequently from our families. We did a prior episode talking about that junk drawer of investments. Our families come to us and they've accumulated these life insurance policies. You have that term policy, maybe you have that permanent policy that you put in place at a prior stage of life, and you have those questions now. Should I maintain those life insurance policies? What can you use them? So as you think about how to utilize those life insurance policies with your legacy planning, it's important to understand what components do you have in that existing life insurance policy. If you've had it in place for a while, newer life insurance policies have new features. We have the long-term care riders. We have the chronic illness riders. There's the tax-free advantages that are often a part of that legacy plan. So it's important, really the opportunity you have is important to assess those, evaluate and understand how those life insurance policies are structured today. Do you have the opportunities to implement those and utilize those within the legacy plan?
Sean mentioned that previous episode on the junk drawer of investments. If that's something resonating with you, you're like, yeah, I feel like I have one of those junk drawers. You can go to YouTube and then search Merkle Retirement Planning and look for that episode. So Loren, we talked about John and Sue. You showed us one decision that John and Sue had to make about legacy planning. John and Sue are central characters in our Journey to Retirement workshops. Tell us about some of the things that John and Sue do in those workshops and what people will learn if they attend.
We built these Journey to Retirement workshops through the eyes of John and Sue, so you can see here's some of the specific goals that John and Sue have as they transition to retirement. In the workshop, we have them age 62, both of them. And they want to retire in 3 short years at the age of 65. And Sue has some of her very specific goals. John has some of his very specific goals, and then they have some couples goals is what we call them. And then throughout the workshop, we check off how they're going to accomplish these goals. From a tax planning standpoint, from a long-term care mitigation standpoint, from a legacy planning standpoint, the investment plan, the income plan, we systematically check off these goals, and we show you some of the very specific strategies that they use. And then through the eyes of John and Sue, you can identify, here's some of your goals, although they're probably a little bit different than John and Sue, that's okay. But some of the strategies that you use to accomplish your goals, you're going to get some ideas from John and Sue about how to implement some of those strategies within your plan.
Yeah, so these workshops we're referring to are Journey to Retirement workshops. You can sign up at merkleplan.com. They're complimentary. And Sean, I want to go back to John and Sue, and I want to go back to what you and Loren just did on the board, because if I'm watching at home, I might wonder, when did John and Sue make this decision? When's a good time to start thinking about taking some of that stuff I've worked so hard for, that accumulation stuff, and turning it into a legacy plan?
That's the nature of planning. You ultimately never know, because you don't know when those unplanned events might happen. But generally, it's driven by, there's a lot of concerns. We know there's a lot of moving pieces to retirement. We have our families often talk about that they just feel overwhelmed, and there's so much that's new to them. You're hitting that retirement stage for the first time. So as you start having more of these concerns, as you think about committing more to having that plan, that is the time. It's really going to be driven by you. When are you concerned about that? When do you have these goals that you want to accomplish? When do you want to obtain that confidence? But often it's that pre-retirement stage, or you now are formally or finally retired. You have a little more time. You start thinking more about what kind of goals you have, what plan you want to have in place. Those are often when those conversations are taking place. And you've got to work with a retirement plan. You have to have that plan to be able to make some of those informed decisions that are a critical part of your retirement plan.
And how old do I need to be or what's a good time, Loren, to attend the Journey to Retirement
If
workshops?
you're within 10 years of retirement, that's really a good time. We call that the red zone to retirement, where you're really starting to think about these next phases of your life and the different things that you need to accomplish and the different decisions that you have to make.
Yeah, and there's a lot of decisions to make when it comes to retiring. We'll continue talking about them on this show. It's Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
When planning a big trip, do you like to look up points of interest, read restaurant reviews, or map out how to take the scenic route? You may spend days or even weeks getting ready for a week-long vacation. Well, what about the 20 or 30-year journey that is retirement? Join us for an online complimentary workshop, Journey to Retirement, June 29th and 30th at 6 p.m. What you can learn in this two-part online workshop from the comfort of your own home will help you plan for the most exciting journey of your life. Register today at merkleplan.com.
Thank you so much for watching Retiring Today. We hope you've enjoyed the show.
See you next week.